Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Zongwu. Blind Sword Immortal, with an incredible understanding, crossing the world of comprehensive martial arts, becoming the seventh son of the Jiangnan Flower Family with flowers all over the building. Although both eyes are blind, they have the wisdom of heaven, and their understanding is contrary to heaven. Playing the Yao Qin with your hands in the martial arts world, comprehending the distinction between sound and position, and the sound of the Heavenly Demon QinSitting at night in a small building, listening to the wind and rain, feeling the connection between heaven and humanity, and having a deep understanding of the heartOne night in the spring breeze, flowers bloom all over the building, realizing the vitality of the wood, and creating the method of immortality called Qingmu Changchun Gong. Shedding bones and giving birth, the eyes can deceive, but the heart cannot. Wandering the rivers and lakes, stepping on the green mountains, drinking strong liquor and admiring beauty. Pleasure and enmity, wield a sword in your hand to meet the heroes of the world. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Since then, his world has had flowers. You are listening at novel full.Audio. According to legend, there is a precious little building in the flower family of Jiangnan. 9 zhang tall, exquisite craftsmanship. The person who built the building is the world-renowned descendant of Lu Ban, with his skilled hand Zhu Ting. It is rumored that it also has a connection with the Mahist school of the Qin state, and its construction techniques can be considered as divine craftsmanship. The richest man in Jiangnan, Hua Ruling, invited him, and it took him 6 years to build. This building is made of blue clouds as bricks, glass as tiles, nanmu as windows, and agarwood as flooring, exuding a luxurious and elegant atmosphere. It is said that 1,000 coins are hard to buy. Therefore, it is named Xianjin Xiaolou. Such a luxurious attic, yet there lives a blind man. He is the seventh son of Hua Ruling and also his most beloved son, named Hua Manlu. It is rumored that this son is handsome and early-witted. At the age of 1, one can speak; at the age of 3, one can understand literary classics; at the age of 5, one can write poetry; at the age of 6, one can proficiently master the unique skill of the flower family, flowing clouds and flying sleeves, proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Wisdom surpasses others, with both literary and military skills. He is truly a dragon and phoenix among people. The flower family once had high hopes for it. However, heaven envies talents. At the age of 7 in Wamanlu, the iron shoe thief committed a crime in Jiangnan and once kidnapped him, blinding his eyes. Hua Ruling searched all over the world for famous doctors to treat her son's eyes, but in the end, there was no result. He also felt guilty about it. I dote on this son to the fullest, allowing him to receive everything from his family. I do my best to provide him with the best in clothing, food, housing, and transportation, which can be considered as a way to make up for the debt. He enjoys reading, and the building is filled with books collected from all over the world, specially carved into bamboo slips for him to read. He likes to play the piano, so there are famous scholars and scholars who travel thousands of miles and bring the world's famous music scores to the Qin. He likes flowers; although he can't see them, he can smell the fragrance of spring flowers blooming. So the courtyard below the small building was filled with various exotic flowers and plants. When spring comes, the flowers will bloom. Hua Ruling also knows that no matter how much he does, it doesn't have much significance. For a blind man, what he truly possesses is actually only this small building. He just wants to do his best to give his son more care, so that his dark world won't lose its color. Actually, there's no need for that. Hua Manlu shook his head. Her fair and slender fingers gently flicked the strings of the piano, and the crisp sound of the piano flowed out of her fingertips like a babbling stream. Make his mind more peaceful and peaceful. He knew that everything his father Hua Ruling did was because he was worried that he would become disheartened and depressed due to blindness. But if you have heard the sound of his piano, you will know that his heart is as peaceful as water. Once upon a time, he did indeed blame the heavens and the people. That was still 10 years ago, when he had just crossed over and had not had time to see the world clearly. He was blinded by stabbing. The man wearing half an iron mask sneered and told him that this would be the last face he had ever seen in the world, but actually not. The last face he saw was not that ferocious iron mask. In the moment when the blade blinded his eyes, he saw a graceful figure descending from the sky. She is very beautiful, so stunning. So much so that in these 10 years of long darkness, the flowers all over the building have always remembered. That day, she was dressed in white, with green hair flying high. Her long sword in her hand pierced through the air, making the sound of raindrops falling. The sword light bloomed like a blooming flower in the sky. The moon sets and the flowers bloom in the morning. He heard the name and liked it very much. At dusk, on the moon, the morning light suddenly appears, and flowers bloom. Since then, he has enjoyed listening to the rain and growing flowers. The sword light did not prevent him from losing his eyes, but it saved his life. "I'm sorry, my sword isn't fast enough yet." That was the first sentence she spoke to herself. This is also the last sentence. After rescuing herself, she left far away and was quickly saved by the master brought by her father. He was held in his father's arms, and everyone around him was comforting him. "Flowers fill the building, but I didn't cry, it's just a regret. Unfortunately, I may never see that stunning sword again, and the person holding the sword may not even know her name." Until a few years later. The name of the Snow Moon Sword Immortal spread throughout the martial arts world. Only then did he realize that your name is Li Hani. Hua Man Lu remembered this name in his heart. One is a renowned sword immortal, and the other is a blind man living in the Tianjin Tower. In theory, it should be difficult for such a person to have any intersection in this life. However, Hua Man Lu doesn't think so. He believed that one day he would go to the Snow Moon City, find her, and make her his wife. He has this confidence because he is full of flowers and has never been seen as weak and blind in people's eyes. Perhaps due to the mercy of heaven, after crossing the blind, he found that his thinking became incredibly sharp, his comprehension astonishing, and even reached the level of transcendence. Any book, as long as you listen to it once, can be remembered in your heart, understand its true meaning, and even draw analogies. Countless inspirations emerge. Any martial arts, as long as you try it once, can be quickly mastered, fully understood, and even create your own understanding. He listened to the rain, comprehended the softness of water, integrated into the family tradition of flowing clouds and flying sleeves, and created a unique flowing sword energy. He played the piano, comprehended the beauty of sound, learned to distinguish between sound and position, and created a unique Heavenly Demon Qin sound. Nowadays, his true strength may not be weaker than the top-notch experts in the martial arts world. But he felt that it was not enough. This world is called Shenzhou. Not any dynasty in history. Here, there are numerous countries and vast territories, and in the martial arts world, there are countless experts and experts. One sword coming from the west, flying immortals from outside the heaven, 5 wonders of the Central Plains, North Qiao Peak and South Murong Zhang Sanfeng, a true person from Wudong who has been around for 100 years, the extraterrestrial sweeping monk of Shaolin Sutra Pavilion Wang Xianji, who sits in the city of Emperor Wu and claims to be the second in the world Song Ke, the heavenly blade that cuts through the chaotic world of beacon fire with just one strike, the 9th grade of martial arts, below the 1st grade, are all ants. Only by stepping into this realm and shedding one's bones, can one become a master. It took 10 years for Hua Man Lu to be trapped in this small building, and to understand the world is to accumulate knowledge and prepare for stepping into nature. To this day, it is already fast. Dida, the sound of rainwater dripping onto the eaves came. Like a calm lake, ripples rise and the clear sound of the piano becomes noisy. Flowers fill the building and lift your head. With lifeless eyes, I looked out the window and listened attentively. The rain hit the glass like jade beads, with more and more raindrops, accompanied by strong winds blowing open the window. Night comes with wind and rain. The sound of wind, rain, and muffled thunder had already disrupted his piano notes. The flower-filled building had to stop, and his palm gently pressed on the trembling strings. Amidst the wind and rain, it was like the Sanskrit sound of heaven and earth, causing his mood to soar. In a faint sense, the flowers filling the building seemed to have awakened. Old author returns, sincere work, seeking collection, seeking flowers, seeking everything. 002 Xiaolou listens to the wind and rain all night. You are listening at novel full.Audio. The wind roars like a dragon, and the rain falls like a waterfall. Hua Manlu sat quietly by the window, wind and rain pouring in from the window, soaking his clothes and brushing his green hair. A maid rushed forward in a panic, wanting to close the window for him. Hua Manlu waved his hand and said, "It's rare for a storm to come. There's a chance here, let's all retreat." The maids were unaware of their intentions. But the young master has always been profound and unfathomable, and his thoughts are not something that these servants can speculate about. He immediately bowed and stepped out. The building repeats tranquility. Only the sound of wind and rain in the sky can be heard. Suddenly, a thunderbolt shook the world. The darkness in front of the flower-filled building seemed to have been illuminated by lightning. Immediately afterwards, he saw strands of light. They are like paintbrushes, interweaving and outlining between heaven and earth, projecting a magnificent picture. The vermilion window railing is carved with peony blooming patterns, lifelike under the reflection of water droplets. A sparrow, drenched all over, landed under the window railing, avoiding the invasion of wind and rain, as if worried that it would drive away. It tilted its head and its dark little eyes flickered with light. The line of sight immediately spread outward. For the first time, Hua Manlu had a clear view of this precious little building where he had lived for 10 years. What a luxurious cage! It's like a sword, standing tall in the wind and rain. Unconsciously, my mind seemed to drift away with the wind. He saw the flowers and plants in the yard, and because it was not yet season, many flowers did not bloom. The bare branches swayed in the rain, making a rustling sound. Outside the courtyard, there is a majestic mansion of the Flower Family. Across the street is the busiest street in the city, with numerous houses and few kitchen smoke, creating a scene of bustling society. On the other side of the yard, there is a distant mountain like smoke and ink, quiet and distant. I saw it. The flowers filled the building with surprise and made a sound. Before his eyes, it was still pitch black. But at this moment, he felt like his soul had gone out of his body, with a deep understanding of heaven and humanity, and everything around him was reflected in his mind, vividly and vividly. It's like seeing it with the naked eye. No. Perhaps more realistic than what can be seen with the naked eye. Because sometimes the eyes can deceive, but the heart cannot. People say that the eyes are the windows of the soul. Although I am blind to the naked eye, I use the opportunity of heaven and earth to open the door of the soul, and my heart is full of insight, without any constraints. Flowers fill the building with joy in my heart. This is not his first time listening to the rain. There was no such mystical insight before. But it is precisely because of the accumulation of these 10 years, through thick accumulation and thin development, that today we can penetrate a trace of the mysteries of heaven and earth and achieve enlightenment. At the same time, the rainstorm roared. The flowers filled the building and I smelled a fragrance. On the bare branches, tender buds sprout and green leaves stretch out. Several early spring orchids have quietly bloomed in the rain. Full of vitality. The spring breeze fills the entire building overnight with flowers. Blessings come from the heart. A hint of joy flashed across Hua Manlu's face. Immediately, let go of my mind and my whole being seemed to blend in with this rain curtain. The internal chi and blood are mobilized accordingly, and the internal organs hum. The true chi accumulated in the elixir field emits a thunderous roar, rushing and wandering through the 8 extraordinary meridians. A fairy-like aura gathered around him, full of vitality, and new green shoots sprouted from the wooden floor beneath him. In the mind full of flowers, traces of the movement of true qi emerge, weaving and interweaving. He unleashed his insights from the past decade at this moment, and through the power of heaven and earth, he finally created an unprecedented martial art through the interaction between heaven and humanity. This method is the technique of gathering the vitality of plants and trees. Nourishing the flesh and blood, refining the true qi, life and soul, is a skill for cultivating immortality in longevity. Hua Manlu referred to it as Qingmu Changchun Gong. With the realization of this skill, the internal power in the elixir field was also refined and purified by the power of vitality, transforming into pure and genuine qi, covering all 4 limbs and bones. Breaking the shackles of the underworld and beginning to transform. Congenital bone loss. With another thunderbolt echoing through the sky and earth, under the shining light, Hua Manlu stood up. At this moment, his true energy lingered around him, like a layer of blue gauze. True qi gathers and protects the body, with smooth and crystal clear skin all over, like polished jade. In the midst of breathing and swallowing, there is a faint fragrance of flowers, refreshing and refreshing. And his eyes, originally lifeless pupils, seem to flicker with brilliant light. Raise your hand, a faint green spiritual light appears, coiling around your fingers and enduring for a long time. He reached out and grabbed the bamboo slips not far away, but they flew into the air, suspended in the blue light. Taking things from afar is something that even a skilled martial arts master can do. But it cannot be controlled and suspended in the air like a flower-filled building. This has already departed from the scope of ordinary martial arts. At this moment, the ray of blue light he refined has already formed a rudimentary form of some magical power. The law of immortality, this is the path I need to take, the martial arts of immortality. Flowers fill the building, and I realize in my heart. At this point, he has successfully shed his bones and entered the realm of first class. Although it is only the lowest Vajra realm. But the enlightenment of Qingmu Changchun Gong has completely led him to embark on a path different from that of ordinary warriors. He is confident that he will break through the realm of freedom and carefree nature in a short period of time. It is only a matter of time before even the mythological mystical realm is revered by people. Above the divine realm, perhaps, is the scenery he needs to explore and pursue in the future. The Qingmu Changchun skill is indeed very strong. However, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is thin in this area. Today, I relied on the interaction between heaven and humans and borrowed a bit of the power of heaven and earth to achieve success. It may not be easy to cultivate this skill in the future. Thinking, my mind scanned the window. At this time, the rainstorm has stopped. Tomorrow is my father's birthday, and after this, I should also go and see the scenery outside. Snow Moon City, I heard it's in the kingdom of apocalypse, it should be far away. Suddenly, in the dim night, a breath approached the Tianjin Xiaolou. Its speed is very fast, sweeping the wind and stepping on the treetops with its toes, shaking off the water droplets on the leaves. In an instant, it has already flown to the eaves outside the window. Flowers fill the building and lift your head. With unfocused eyes, he looked up at the eaves and spoke calmly, although my precious little building is not a place to venture into, it is not a place where one can easily intrude. Your Excellency, visiting late at night, you are not afraid. 003 cannot conceal your tacky demeanor. You are listening at novel full.audio. The Huajia family is wealthy in Jiangnan and has a wealth of thousands. Tianjin Xiaolou is also well known outside. It is inevitable that it will attract some petty thieves to covet. However, the vast majority of them cannot pass the level of the Hua family's guards. This person's ability to quietly infiltrate the Tianjin Xiaolou demonstrates his extraordinary abilities. In the past few years, many people have also risked their lives. In the impression of a flower-filled building, only one person has achieved it. That person is his friend. But at this moment, this person was wearing a ferocious and ugly iron mask, wearing a pair of thick iron shoes on his feet, and spraying a strange spice on his body, which should be used to mask his own breath. The Iron Shoe Thief. Hua Manlu was stunned for a moment. The Iron Shoe Thief who blinded him in the past has already been stabbed to death by Li Honey's sword. But he knew that the so-called Iron Shoe Thief was the twin brother of a single mother. One died, and there is still one person at large. Over the years, Hua Manlu has been secretly pursued by his father, but to no avail. How could I suddenly come knocking on my door today? Although there have been some changes in the details, it seems that the plot of the Iron Shoe legend has begun. Whoosh, the sound of breaking wind rises, and a cold light suddenly appears. The Iron Shoe Thief on the eaves has already taken action, and poisoned iron thistles are flying towards them. The flower-filled building is too lazy to dodge. Because he didn't feel any killing intent. In order to avoid revealing their true identity, the other party did not use his ultimate moves, so the technique of this hidden weapon can only be described as clumsy in the eyes of Hua Manlu. So he just gently waved his sleeve, his true energy rolled up like a curtain of water. The scattered iron thistles were instantly knocked down to the ground. Then, with a twist on his side, he dodged the stabbing blow from the opponent. His soft sleeve swayed and weighed like 1,000 pounds, causing the opponent's wrist to sink and the knife to fall off. At the same time, Hua Manlu slammed his palm into the air towards the front door. Before the palm reached, the surging energy had already exploded. The Iron Shoe Thief immediately froze, as if imprisoned by some invisible force, intimidating his figure and unable to move. I was surprised in my heart, but I didn't dare to exert all my strength. Watching this palm approach head-on. Click, the iron face covering his face was unbearable and exploded. Showing a handsome face, with two small beards, curved like two willow leaves. Stop, it's me. The person finally couldn't help but shout out loud. Upon hearing the familiar voice, Hua Manlu smiled slightly. The palm in front of the door had already stopped, and the wild and rushing true energy also turned into a gentle breeze in this moment, brushing against the cheeks. Easy to retract and release. I thought you were going to hold on to it. If you were one step later, Lu Xiaofeng with 4 eyebrows would turn into a dead phoenix. Hua Manlu had already guessed the other person's identity. So there was a margin for action. Otherwise, that palm just now would have been able to inflict a heavy blow on the opponent. In the past decade, Hua Manlu has rarely left Qianjing Xiaolou. So he doesn't know many people, and even fewer can be called friends. Lu Xiaofeng can be considered one. When did you buy the first product? I just listened to the rain and felt something in my heart. So simple. Lu Xiaofeng listened to him speak lightly. It's like entering the realm of first grade, it's as simple as eating and drinking water. How many martial arts practitioners dream of this realm? Even though he has been practicing for 20 years, he only managed to achieve it with just one finger of his spiritual rhinoceros. However, considering the terrifying natural intelligence of Hua Manlu, this seems to be a natural thing. I'm too lazy to ask again. Jealousy, envy. Forget it. People don't need to be compared to demons. So, did you recognize me from the beginning? Yes. How did it happen? You just drank the apricot blossom wine from Drunken Moon Tower, and there is still a woman's powder smell on your body. Although you intentionally sprinkled spices on your body to prevent me from recognizing you, the rosemary from the western regions cannot conceal the vulgarity on your body. Hua Manlu casually explained. He certainly wouldn't tell Lu Xiaofeng that he easily saw through his identity because he had a keen eye for insight and knew the plot of the original work. However, Lu Xiaofeng firmly believed in it. Because in his impression, Hua Manlu is a person who never tells lies. Vulgarity. In this world, only fine wine and beauty cannot be let down. You just have too little vulgarity on your body, not like a person in the mortal world. Lu Xiaofeng didn't care. He considers himself a layman by nature. Anyway, it was already recognized, so I didn't want to pretend anymore. I ripped off my clothes and then took off my iron shoes. This thing is clumsy and heavy, and wearing it is really uncomfortable. Do you have any alcohol? He sat down at the table, looked up and asked. There are books and flowers in my building, but no wine. Hua Manlu shook his head. He drinks alcohol. However, in the past, it was Lu Xiaofeng who took the initiative to bring wine to see him. This time, in order to pretend to be an iron shoe thief, it is impossible to bring wine with him. Tell me what's going on. Faced with inquiries from close friends, Lu Xiaofeng did not conceal anything and quickly explained the whole story. A few days ago, Lu Xiaofeng received a commission from the skilled craftsman Zhu Ting to learn that someone might use the mechanism he built to attack the Flower Family, so he came under the pretext of wishing birthday. Later on, it was heard that Hua Ruling had met a miraculous doctor surnamed Song from somewhere, known as the medicine hero, with the ability to bring back life through skillful hands. It is said that there is a chance to cure the eyes full of flowers, but to cure the eyes, one must first cure the heart. Due to Hua Manlu's insistence on tracking the whereabouts of the iron shoes thief, Hua Ruling felt that this might be his heart disease. Therefore, on the advice of the divine doctor, he invited Lu Xiaofeng to act and pretend to be the iron shoes thief, deliberately allowing Hua Manlu to kill him to relieve his inner demons. In fact, it's just that some people want to borrow a knife to kill and prevent Lu Xiaofeng from doing bad things. Indeed, it is the plot of the legendary iron shoes. The flowers fill the building and I understand it clearly in my heart. The remaining iron shoe thief should be the Song Divine Doctor, which remains unchanged from the original work. The only difference is that the person who blinded himself became his brother and was killed by Li Hani 10 years ago. Hua Manlu has no interest in caring about who their older brother is and who their younger brother is. He only knew that the reappearance of the iron shoe thief was for revenge. After all, according to rumors in the martial arts world, the iron shoe thief died at the hands of the Flower Family. Secondly, it was to steal the Hanhai Jade Buddha preserved by the Flower Family, in order to help the Peacock Prince of Hanhai rebel and cause trouble. Flowers fill the building, recalling the plot. Now, the legendary Dr. Song is in the Hua family, and as long as he takes action, he can destroy it. However, perhaps due to my own travel experience, the butterfly effect occurred, and some things underwent subtle changes. For example, the time when Lu Xiaofeng made her move seems to be one night earlier than the original work. This has led to the fact that the envoys of those two vast seas have not yet arrived. These people have all set their sights on the Hanhai Jade Buddha. If they can't catch them all in one go, it will be troublesome in the future. Then let him live one more night. Hua Manlu muttered to herself in her heart, then turned around and asked Lu Xiaofeng. Zhu Ting entrusted you with the task, did you ask for your help in rescuing his wife? How do you know? Lu Xiaofeng was greatly surprised. This matter is confidential, and Zhu Ting only had time to seek help from himself. How did Hua Manlu find out? Hua Manlu didn't have time to explain too much to him at this moment, just said, don't worry about how I know. I can tell you the location of Madame Zhu Ting now. Seriously. You'll know when you go, but before you leave, you need to do me a favor. Unexpected guests from 004. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That night, Lu Xiaofeng came out of the Tianjin Xiaolou and found Hua Ruling in Songshini. I said I didn't complete the task and was spotted by the flowers all over the building. However, with his guidance, Hua Manlu had already let go of his worries and admitted that the true iron shoe thief had died. And because he concealed his strength during the confrontation, he was injured and had to leave. Hua Ruling was very happy to learn that her son's inner demons had been released. The doctor next to him, Song Shini, frowned slightly. Lu Xiaofeng's action was actually ahead of his plan and almost ruined his situation, but fortunately, the result was still acceptable. Without exposing herself, Lu Xiaofeng also left early. Without this cunning guy, the next action will be much smoother. Brother, I will endure for 10 years, and the opportunity for revenge is approaching. Dr. Song's gaze flickered. At this moment, Hua Ruling turned her head to look at him and said expectantly, Dr. Song, since my son's heart has opened, can we help him treat his eyes now? Of course. Dr. Song replied with a smile. However, this matter is complicated. I still need to make some preparations. After tomorrow's Flower Lord's birthday banquet, I will treat the young master's illness, okay? Everyone is arranged by the divine doctor. The next day. The flower mansion is decorated with lanterns and colorful decorations. A sumptuous banquet was held all the way from the inner palace to the long street outside the door, inviting the residents of the city to drink and feast, showcasing the grandeur of the richest man in Jiangnan. Guests who come here today to congratulate us are also in constant flow. The Hua family had great achievements, and when Hua Ruling was young, he was generous and had a wide range of friends. Therefore, in addition to local officials, merchants, and gentry, there were also experts from the martial arts world who came here to congratulate him. However, for the vast majority of people, they can't even name themselves when they are full of flowers. Because this world is too vast. Ordinary martial arts masters in this world are like gravel in a river. Unless they are exceptionally talented, it is difficult to remember them. The few people in the original plot can still be barely recognized with flowers all over the building. For example, the bitter wisdom master from Shaolin Temple, the constable Jin Jiuling from the Six Gates sect, Eagle-Eye Old 7, and the great hero Guan Tai from the Great Wall who has a close relationship with Dr. Song except for these people. There is also an unexpected guest. That was a young gentleman in his 30s, dressed in brocade, holding a folding fan, with a calm and elegant demeanor, and a touch of luxury in his speech and behavior. Father introduced that this person is the owner of Yanzhou. The young master of the Murong family, the famous southern Murong in the martial arts world, Murong Fu. Flowers fill the building in silence. Although he had known earlier that this was a world that combined countless martial arts novels and movies, the appearance of Murong Fu here still surprised him a bit. But on second thought, it makes sense. The Hua family is wealthy in Jiangnan and is the real richest man in Jiangnan. Murong Fu's Yanzhou is located in Suzhou, so close. The head of the Hua family has a long life, and he is coming to express his gratitude. However, Murong Fu has been thinking about the great dream of restoring his country all day. Today, he is here to celebrate his birthday. I wonder if there is any genuine affection or if he has other intentions. He should be unaware of the existence of the Hanhai Jade Buddha. I hope this guy is more honest. Hua Man Lu remained calm and followed his father, bowing to the guests in the courtyard. At this moment, everyone present was also secretly scrutinizing him. Seeing him with a jade-like face and handsome facial features, despite having a wealthy family background, he was dressed in a simple blue robe, with a hint of detachment in his demeanor and demeanor. His speech and behavior are elegant, and he treats people with gentleness and courtesy. It feels like basking in the warm sunshine of spring, with a gentle breeze brushing against the face. Even as an enemy, Dr. Song couldn't help but secretly sigh, this son is truly handsome and full of spirit. Unfortunately, he is blind. And it will soon become dead. While speaking. Suddenly, a gatekeeper came from outside the door, announcing loudly, "Little prince of the Jin dynasty, come and pay homage." Upon hearing these words, everyone present turned slightly pale. Jin Gua. I heard it was a foreign country on the side of the Song dynasty, with ambitious intentions to invade the Central Plains. The sixth prince, Wanyan Honglai, opened a royal mansion within the territory of the Song dynasty under the pretext of being an envoy. It is rumored that there are often covert depictions of the geography, mountains, and rivers of the Central Plains, as well as rampant solicitation of martial arts experts in the martial arts world, with ulterior motives. Although the Ming dynasty did not border with foreign tribes such as the Jin dynasty, they both belonged to the Middle-earth Shenzhou, and they were often despised. No one expected that the Flower family would have an intersection with such wolves. For a moment, everyone's gaze towards Hua ruling became somewhat subtle. Don't misunderstand, everyone. Our Hua family has had no negotiations with the Jin dynasty. The little prince of the Jin dynasty suddenly arrived, and I didn't expect it either. Hua ruling quickly stood up to show her attitude. The crowd's expression softened a lot and they said, I came uninvited. However, as a guest, we cannot lose the etiquette of our central plains. Let's see why he came. As they spoke, everyone stood up and looked towards the entrance. I saw a young master, surrounded by several attendants, strode towards me. He looks like he's only 17 or 18 years old. She has a beautiful face, a slender figure, draped in gold and jade, dressed in Central Plains attire, dressed like a noble young master. However, between her eyebrows and eyes, there is more of a domineering and arrogant aura. Speaking of this demeanor alone, it is far from being compared to a simple and colorful attire. Even Murong Fu in the crowd is a bit more elegant than him. This is also normal. This young prince of the Jin dynasty, although not the biological son of Wanyan Honglai, deeply loved his mother, loved his house and Wu, and doted on Wanyan Kong in every way possible. As the son of a prince, he has been living a luxurious life since childhood, and holds great power. He has countless experts to obey orders at any time, and his life is smooth. It is inevitable that he will develop an arrogant temperament. Of course, this is also due to the nature of Wanyan Kong. What kind of demeanor can a person who is greedy for wealth and willing to recognize thieves as their father have? Hua Manlu shook his head secretly. The gaze did not linger on Wanyan Kong for too long. But he had a deep understanding, constantly scanning the few people behind him. The breath is not weak. There are a total of 5 people, all of whom have barely reached a cultivation level of 4 or above. In the martial arts world, I can barely be considered a second-rate expert, as I am in the 3rd grade. Without any accidents, they should be the 5 masters under the seat of Wanyan Honglai. Surprisingly, everyone came with Wanyan Kong. This doesn't seem like a birthday celebration. However, Hua Manlu also doesn't care. For him, these 5 people are just a matter of a snap. I have long heard that the Hua family is wealthy in Jiangnan, and the Hua old man is even more outstanding. Today, when I saw him, I realized that seeing 100 things is better than seeing one. Wanyan Kong strode forward and bowed with a smile. Xiao Wang traveled through Jiangnan and learned that it was Master Hua's birthday. He came to pay his respects and came uninvited. Master Hua won't be surprised, will he? In his speech and expression, there is still a hint of well-hidden arrogance and superiority. It seems as if it is an honor for the Flower family to take the initiative to congratulate on their birthday in his capacity. Hua ruling is also a veteran of the martial arts world, where can't he hear the arrogance in this tone and feel unhappy in his heart, but after all, he has the status of a prince and is claiming to be celebrating his birthday, so it's not easy to turn his back directly. The host may lose etiquette, but among the guests, there are some who have a violent temper. Someone immediately sneered and said, those from foreign countries who come uninvited are not only paying homage, but also not even offering gifts. They really have a barbarian demeanor and lack education. Upon hearing these words, a fierce expression flashed in Wanyan Kang's eyes. But soon it was hidden. He smiled slightly and pretended to be magnanimous, saying arrogantly, "Who said I don't have a gift? Master Hua, I'm going to give you a big gift today." After speaking, he clapped his hands. Soon, several servants walked in carrying a huge box. Tonight, it is destined not to be peaceful. You are listening at novel full.audio. With the command of Wanyan Kong, several servants walked in carrying a large box. At the same time, several musicians dressed in Hu costumes entered the stage. The leader was a middle-aged man with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a beard, playing a short flute and playing cheerful and festive music. Hu Jia lightly beats, and the sound of the flute and the sound of the gourd intertwine. Everyone immediately smelled a strange fragrance that seemed to be non-existent, and petals scattered all over the sky. The huge box slowly opened. A foreign woman wearing a gauze skirt walked out from inside, with a graceful and delicate figure. Her waist twisted like a water snake, exuding exquisite charm. Unlike the graceful and reserved nature of women from the Central Plains, this foreign woman dances enthusiastically and freely. Seeing everyone present, it was eye-opening. For a while, no one cared about targeting Wanyan-Kong. At this moment, Hua Man Lu frowned. He is blind, but he doesn't have the mood to enjoy any beautiful dance. It's just strange in my heart. How did these people from the Han Hai Kingdom collude with Wanyan-Kong again? According to the original plot, this dancing exotic beauty should be the adopted daughter of the Song Divine Doctor, who is now married to the Peacock Prince of the Han Si Kingdom. To assist him in ascending the throne, he planned to infiltrate the Flower Family. Seize the Han Hai Jade Buddha, which was preserved here by the king of Han Hai back then. That is a symbol of mastering the royal power of the Han Hai Kingdom. But from the current perspective, it seems that Prince Wanyan-Kong of the Jin dynasty is also involved in this matter. Do you want to use this to control the Han Si Kingdom and enhance the strength of the Jin dynasty? If that's the case, then this young prince of the Jin dynasty must also be eliminated. Hua Man Lu shook his head slightly. He has been studying piano, chess, calligraphy and painting since childhood, with a noble character, and is not someone who enjoys killing. But if anyone dares to calculate on themselves, he won't be polite either. The gift from Wanyan-Kong really opened the eyes of the crowd present. Daming is located in the south, and its territory does not border with the states in the northern part of the western regions. Occasionally, there are very few merchants who interact with each other, and I have never seen such exotic customs. For a moment, everyone's aversion to Wanyan-Kong decreased. It has to be said that Wanyan-Kong still has some skills. Although he has a rebellious and arrogant personality, he is still the son of a prince and lives in the Central Plains all year round. He has extraordinary speech and is generous in his actions. He quickly won the favor of some people and became attached to him. Hua Ruling looked in the eye and shook her head secretly. It is said that when you reach out and don't hit the smiling person, it's not easy to chase customers anymore. I had to temporarily keep Wanyan-Kong. During the banquet, Wanyan-Kong constantly took the opportunity to befriend some martial arts masters. Some people looked down upon him, but others flocked to him. In any era, there is no shortage of petty people who are greedy for glory. The several experts brought by Wanyan-Kong, such as the Ghost Gate Dragon King Sha Tongtian, are also from the Central Plains and have some fame in the martial arts world, and they are also familiar with each other. After coming and going, many people were actually attracted. Among them, there are even some local officials. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Wanyan-Kong expressed during the banquet that the Jin dynasty planned to establish a Jin Wu-Tang in places such as the Song dynasty and the Ming dynasty. Contributing funds to support experts in the martial arts world is called sparring and exchanging martial arts skills. In fact, I just want to emulate the first-class Hall of Western Xia and establish my own power to stir up wind and rain in the martial arts world of the Central Plains. Wanyan-Kong also proposed that Hua Ruling should be the main person in charge of the Jiangnan Jinwu Hall. On the one hand, the Hua family is as wealthy as Jiangnan, with astonishing wealth. On the other hand, Hua Ruling has a reputation in the official, commercial, and martial arts circles, and is indeed the best candidate. If Hua Ruling agreed, the Jin dynasty could grant him a title and open up a dedicated trade channel for him, allowing for trade between Jiangnan and the northern part of the Jin dynasty, with profits that were unimaginable. However, Hua Ruling is not a fool either. How dare you agree to such a job? Making friends with foreign countries has always been a taboo. Especially now there are court officials like Jin Zhouling in the court. The current Jin dynasty has not had any conflict with the Ming dynasty, but after all, it is an outsider. If there is a conflict and someone gets caught, it will be a great crime of robbing the family and exterminating the clan. The young prince has shown his affection. Hua is old and has no ambitions. He only hopes to maintain his family and children's safety, which is enough. The young prince sent a special congratulatory message, and I am deeply grateful, but in the end, the way is different. Hua ruling clearly expressed her attitude. After being rejected, a cold expression flashed in Wanyan Kang's eyes. He originally intended to obtain the Hanhai Jade Buddha in the gentlest way possible. After all, this is the territory of the Ming dynasty, and he didn't want to go too far. But who knew that Hua ruling was actually a toast, not a punishment? Just a plain white businessman, really treating himself like a person. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. Of course. At this moment, there are many guests, and if it provokes public anger, the experts he brings may not be able to withstand it. Yan Kang can still handle this clearly. So it didn't happen on the spot, just laughed and laughed, saying that I was also casually mentioning it, and then continued to push cups and change cups with everyone present. This birthday banquet lasted until evening. Most guests dispersed separately, while some distinguished guests were arranged to temporarily rest at the Hua family. Wanyan Kang deliberately pretended to be drunk and wanted to stay here. Flowers are not easy to drive people away. After all, I don't want to offend a prince of the Jin dynasty for nothing. Hua Manlu was even more certain that the young prince of the Jin dynasty was coming towards the Han Hai Jade Buddha. Perhaps the Song Divine Doctor and the Han Hai Princess had secretly joined him. Tonight, it is destined not to be peaceful. Young master, the medicine is ready and we can treat your eyes at any time. During the banquet, Dr. Song walked up and said with a smile. Flowers fill the building without looking back. But with a keen insight, he had already taken a panoramic view of the other person's appearance, and his eyebrows and eyes were indeed identical to the iron shoe thief who had died before. Knowing that one's judgment is not wrong. So he nodded and said, let's go to the wing over there. Okay. Dr. Song responded with a smile. My heart was already filled with murderous intent. The revenge of killing his brother has been pressing in his heart for 10 years. However, he is afraid of the power of the Flower family and dare not act recklessly. Now that he is surrounded by the Peacock Prince of the Han Si Kingdom and the Little Prince of the Jin Kingdom, what is so remarkable about the mere Flower family? The cause of what happened back then was in Hua Manlu. Killing him and dealing with the Hua family is enough to comfort the spirit of the deceased brother in heaven. In thought, Dr. Song has followed into the room. Young master, please sit down here and take the medicine I have specially prepared for you, and then give you injections for treatment. He spoke and reached out to touch the medicine box next to him. But suddenly he felt a strong aura enveloping him, making his body stiff and unable to move. Immediately afterwards, a strong sense of danger rose from within. The door behind has already closed. There was only the blind young man in the room with a smile on his back, but he felt as if he was facing a fierce beast. The current market situation in Feilu is a bit under pressure. Let's see if any friends like it. If there are many people, try to write more and more. With a sharp finger, the past came to an end. You are listening at novel.Although. The night breeze blew into the room from outside the window, and Dr. Song felt a chill in his back. Unconsciously, sweat had soaked through his clothes. The pressure brought to him by the flowers all over the building is too great. It seems that he did nothing. Still staring at himself with a smile on his face, even though he was just blind, his eyes gave him a feeling of being seen through. The breath is locked onto the body, like a thorn in the back, causing difficulty breathing. It seems that everyone underestimated this blind young man. You actually had a chance to survive. Hua Manlu fiddled with the fan pendant in his hand and said casually. Upon hearing this, Dr. Song was stunned for a moment and quickly said, "What do you mean by this, young master?" "I was just invited by Master Hua to treat your illness." Flowers fill the building, but it seems like I haven't heard his defense. Continuing without hesitation, he said, "Your older brother stabbed me blind in the eyes back then, and he died as a result. The iron shoe thief has become a thing of the past. As long as you continue to remain anonymous, the world is vast, and the Flower family may not be able to find you. I don't understand what the young master is saying. If you can't believe me, I'll just leave." Speaking, he gritted his teeth, struggling to break free from the opponent's airlock, quickly retreating. At the same time, the hand that reached into the medicine box suddenly waved and sprinkled a piece of foul-smelling powder. At this point, he is clear that his identity has been exposed. This seemingly frail young master of the Flower family is afraid that he is not a prey to be slaughtered, and he is worried that there are other traps in the room. At this point, he can no longer consider the idea of killing and seeking revenge. He just wants to quickly leave the room, join other helpers, and create another plan. "I want to leave now, it's already too late." Hua Manlu shook his head. "As I spoke, my long sleeves swayed like flowing clouds, washing away my true energy. A strong wind suddenly swept up in the room. Blow away the poisonous powder all over the sky, and at the same time, with a flick of your fingertip in the air, a sword energy burst into the air. The water vapor in the air instantly condenses into a stream of sword energy. In the blink of an eye, it was already forced to face the door. How could it be that true chi breaks through the body?" Dr. Song was shocked and pale. Without much thought, he quickly clapped his palm and the medicine box on his waist exploded. A crescent moon short sword appeared in his palm. He swung his sword, seemingly blocking this wisp of sword energy. But with just a slight touch, the terrifying force shook the tiger's mouth numb, almost unable to grip the handle of the knife. Knowing that the opponent's martial arts are powerful and far beyond oneself, there is no one who dares to forcefully accept them. Fortunately, I thought to myself that my lightness skills were not bad, and I narrowly avoided this deadly sword energy, but my retreat was also blocked. There is no way out. Dr. Song's eyes also showed a fierce expression. "Then you go to hell." The short sword in hand shimmered with a faint light, like a poisonous dragon, fighting back with all its might. Unfortunately, this knife only struck halfway and was imprisoned by a powerful force. The body of Dr. Song froze, and the blade in his hand seemed to be trapped by a large mountain, unable to move forward or backward. He widened his eyes in terror. I saw Hua Manlu facing me from the side, just casually reaching out his hand and accurately gripping the blade with 2 fingers. "Lu Xiaofeng's sharp finger, how could you also know?" "I know a lot more, but you probably won't be able to see it." Click, as the words fell, my fingertips exerted a slight force. The sharp blade forged with precision steel shattered and exploded, turning into a cold shard that pierced through the body of Dr. Song, splattering blood like blooming red flowers. "You." He widened his eyes, but could no longer speak. The body fell to the ground with a thud, with no breath left. Only blood flowed out, staining the floor below. Fortunately, I didn't choose to do it in my building, otherwise it would be troublesome to clean it. Hua Manlu thinks like this. This is actually his first time killing someone. There was no discomfort as imagined. On the contrary, in the dark, I only felt relaxed in my heart, my thoughts were clear, and my mind was a bit delicate and translucent. After all, this surviving iron shoe thief is also a minor consequence. Getting rid of it today can also be considered a complete end to what happened 10 years ago. Calculate the time, should the warehouse also take action. Hua Manlu stood up and went up to the adjacent attic. This place was chosen by him in advance, which can provide insight into the entire situation of the Flower family mansion. At this moment, 2 maids were waiting here, preparing incense, fruit and melon wine, as well as a guqin in the pavilion. You guys step back first, no matter what sound you hear, don't run around. Hua Manlu waved his hand and asked the maid to step down. Immediately, my mind opened up and I could see everything in the courtyard below. At this time, dozens of skilled guards raised by flower families have gathered here to block the courtyard. In the darkness, a figure was quickly escaping from the direction of the warehouse. But soon he was shot back by the archer lurking outside. What a thief! Dare to run to my Hua family and be reckless. You won't be able to come today. Hua Ruling, holding an iron sword, had already been waiting here for a long time with her family's experts. This is a warning from Hua Manlu that he was secretly taking precautions. Hua Ruling originally felt that her son was a bit too cautious, completely out of favor for Hua Manlu, so she followed suit. Unexpectedly, there was really a harvest. The black figure was petite in stature, swift and agile in movement. Although wearing a nightgown, it could still be recognized as a woman. And there was a special fragrance faintly emanating from her body. His identity has been fully revealed. It was the Western region's dancer brought by Wanyan Kong in the daytime. At this moment, she was carrying a bundle on her back, indicating that she had stolen the treasure from the warehouse. Leave the Jade Buddha behind and capture him, maybe there's still a chance of survival. Hua Ruling shouted loudly. However, the answer to him is a poisoned flying needle. Hua Ruling raised his hand and waved his sword, with a murderous intent in his eyes. He immediately stopped talking nonsense and ordered his skilled men to come forward and capture him. In an instant, more than 10 figures flew out and attacked the thieves in the field together. But at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Originally, the great hero Guan Tai, who came to assist with boxing upon hearing the news, suddenly launched a surprise attack and injured 2 guards of the Flower family. Quickly rendezvous with the thief and flee towards the outside of the courtyard. At the same time, several figures flew over in the darkness, seemingly responding. On the roof, the envoy of the Han Si kingdom played the flute. The rapid and sharp sound of the flute sounded like a magical sound, causing everyone present to feel a headache and unable to pursue it. These people, who cooperate harmoniously and cover each other up, clearly have made careful plans. Seeing the thief about to take this opportunity to escape, Hua Manlu sat down in front of the ancient qin, and with a gentle flick of his fingertips, the sound of the qin suddenly rose. The sound of the 007 piano is like a heavenly demon. You are listening at novel.Audio. Zheng, fingertip swipe across the strings, emitting the sound of gold and iron horses. There is not half the softness that should be there. Like a thunderous roar between heaven and earth, it startled the wind and clouds. The sound was like thunder, instantly suppressing all sounds. The rapid and sharp sound of the flute was as if it had been forcefully grabbed by the neck. It came to an abrupt end. The envoy of the vast sea on the roof had a slight change in expression, his gaze fixed on the attic. He snorted in anger, then took a deep breath again. With the infusion of his internal energy, the sound of the flute became even more urgent. The people below felt even more headache-splitting. The skill of the envoy of the vast sea may not be very profound, but he was prepared in advance, using the incense on the female thief's body and the unique sound of the flute to stimulate it. It's really hard to resist. The attic was filled with flowers, but a faint smile appeared. My martial arts are shallow, and the sound of the flute is also crude. It all depends on the combination of medicine to show off my power. Even if you're just carving insects and playing tricks in front of me. He spoke, raising his hand slightly in gesturing. Let me give you a taste of the true melody of the qin. After speaking, the strings trembled, and a cold crow played in the water, playing from its fingertips. In an instant, the sky and earth are filled with wind and thunder, with strong winds surging and rolling sand and dust. The trees around are rustling, and the branches and leaves are swaying, as if accompanied by the melodious Yao Qin music. High mountains and flowing water, small streams babbling like a trickle flowing through. The people in the courtyard were already having a splitting headache and struggling to control themselves. Suddenly, they heard the sound of the Qin playing like the sound of heaven, and felt a sense of peace in their hearts. Like a drowning person grabbing a life-saving straw. The boiling and surging qi and blood in the body gradually subsided. Such a heavenly sound, rarely heard in the world. It's truly magical to be able to soothe the soul with the music of the Qin. This move is similar to my Buddhist meditation technique, and I wonder who the person playing the Qin is. The guests who came out upon hearing the commotion all had surprised expressions on their faces. The flowers in the courtyard, like Ling, burst out laughing with a hint of pride and said, "My son is all over the building, only slightly proficient in the music of the Qin. He can't be considered a great talent. So it's the 7th young master of the Flower Family. He is indeed a wonderful person. But unfortunately, he is blind. Otherwise, with his talent, if he were to study martial arts, he would probably have achieved considerable success." Everyone was surprised and moved. Suddenly, a muffled groan came from the roof. The sharp and rapid sound of the flute has been completely suppressed by the sound of the Qin. Zheng, the gentle and melodious sound of the Qin suddenly became fierce and sharp. As the strings sway, the strong wind in the field intensifies. The clouds in mid-air roll up and down, under the moonlight shining, like a demon, waving its teeth and claws. The envoy of the vast sea on the roof felt a daze in front of him. Under the impact of the sound, his body stumbled and became unstable, and his short flute exploded in response. Immediately after, qi and blood surged and reversed, causing dizziness and dizziness. In his sight, there were even more illusions, as if he had seen something terrifying. He suddenly screamed in surprise, and then his 7 orifices bled, and he fell on his back. It's already shattered by the sound waves. What a powerful Qin sound. It can shock and kill enemies from afar. How profound is the skill of this young master from the Flower Family. I've taken a look. And he seems to be able to precisely control the direction of sound wave attacks. You and I have also heard the Qin music, but we have not been hurt by it. This son's control of internal power and mastery of melody may have reached an incredible level. Master Kuji and Jin Jiuling, among others, looked at each other in awe. In their impression, there were flowers all over the building, but they were just blind. Even though you are a young master of the Flower Family and have practiced some protective martial arts, your eyes are too important for martial artists. Without your eyes, how can you achieve success? So no one associates him with a martial arts master. Now that I first saw the colorful means, I was truly amazed. Murong Fu in the crowd was lost in thought, looking over the crowd and out of the courtyard. There, the figure of the young prince of the Jin dynasty, Wan Yenkang, was faintly visible. "Quick, the thieves are going to escape, stop them." The flowers in the yard exclaimed loudly. The experts under his command regained their fighting power and quickly caught up. However, due to being obstructed by the sound of the flute, they missed the opportunity. The female thief's lightness skills were also very skilled, and she was about to escape from the encirclement. "Roll down." Hua Man Lu drank softly. The slender middle finger bends and plays on the strings, emitting pure and authentic energy that bursts with the sound, transforming into a visible beam of sound wave sword energy, tearing apart the sky. The speed of sound waves far surpasses arrows. Guan Tai in mid-air immediately snorted and vomited blood, and his body was instantly pierced by sword energy, falling down. The Han Hai princess running in front of him was not much better, with sword energy lingering through her heart and her body falling down like a broken sandbag. For the enemy, there is no such thing as cherishing fragrance and cherishing jade when it comes to flower-filled buildings. If you plan on the Hua family, you must have a strong sense of death. Okay. Hua Ruling was overjoyed at the sight, and his skilled subordinates gathered around him, intending to retrieve the Han Hai Jade Buddha from the thief's body. But suddenly a cold light appeared. Two heads soared into the sky. As the ghost head sword swept across, the burden on the female thief's body had been taken away. Immediately after, 5 figures fell into the scene one after another, and their powerful momentum surged, forcing the guards of the Flower family back. Only then did everyone see clearly the person who made the move. A Western region's Lama, a white-haired old man, a ferocious bald man, a skinny man. These people are the 5 great masters under the throne of Prince Wanyan-Kong of the Jin dynasty. They are respectively the 5-finger secret blade spiritual master from the western regions and the Liaodong Kanshan old monster Liangziwang. The other 3 are also notorious villains. Qiansharan Tu Penglianhu, the Yellow River gangster ghost gate dragon king Sha Tongtian, and his junior brother Santu Jiaoho Tonghai. These 5 people are all renowned experts in the martial arts world. At least they have the strength of a 4th grade or above in martial arts, and it is easy to suppress those Flower family guards. For a moment, everyone in the field dared not act rashly again. In the darkness, the little prince of the Jin dynasty, dressed in silk and fox fur, slowly walked out, then took the package he handed over and opened it to take a look. It is a jade Buddha with a body full of emerald green, exquisite and unparalleled, shining brightly under the moonlight. This is the royal seal of the Hanhai kingdom, the Hanhai Jade Buddha. Wanyan-Kong nodded in satisfaction. From beginning to end, he didn't look at the corpses on the ground, as if for him, the deaths of these people were not worth mentioning at all. Little prince, what do you mean by this? Flowers make one's face turn pale with iron. He's not a fool, and now he probably understands. These thieves, I'm afraid they were all instructed by Wanyan-Kong. Any birthday wishes or even the words of Jin Wutong are just excuses. His true goal is to seize the Jade Buddha from the vast sea. Faced with Hua Ruling's questioning, Wanyan-Kong just gave a cold smile and said, Master Hua, I have given you the opportunity to join the wealthy, but you are not aware of the current situation, so I can only use it myself. I will definitely get what I like. The young prince breathed a big sigh. After all, this is Jiangnan of the Ming dynasty, the land of the Central Plains, not on the grasslands of your Jin dynasty. Do you think you can take the Jade Buddha away? I have 5 masters here, what can your Flower family do? I want to leave, who dares to stop me? Wanyan-Kong laughed proudly. After speaking, holding the Jade Buddha, he was about to leave. The 5 masters cut off the rear for them, and the general guards really can't keep them. Hua Ruling also hesitated at this moment. The stolen Jade Buddha is actually just a fake, the real treasure is still hidden in his treasury, so even if it is lost, it is not important. However, let Wanyan-Kong go like this, and if the matter spreads, the face of the Hua family will eventually be wiped out, making it difficult to establish a foothold in the future. But if we really want to take action, it would be a big trouble, after all, offending a prince of a country just as he hesitated. A slightly chilly voice echoed through the night sky. The young prince comes whenever he wants, leaves whenever he wants, and also takes away the treasures of my Hua family. He is really deceiving my Hua family without anyone else. 008 Mosquitoes and flies cannot fall, swords and knives cannot be used. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sound of flowers filling the building is actually still as gentle as usual. Just like his character, he always gives people a sense of politeness, but this elegance often leads people to mistake him for being weak and deceitful. This is also an unavoidable matter. Even now, Wamanla stubbornly believes that being refined and humble is one's own noble character, not a flaw. But if necessary, he can also have a domineering and cold side. For example, now. He also knew that the Hanhai Jade Buddha was just a fake, and even deliberately allowed the Hanhai princess to take it out of the treasury, but he did not intend to let Wanyan-Kong take it away so easily. It concerns the face of the Flower family. If he were to leave so easily today, there would be more young people flocking to the Hua family's wealth in the future, and that would be the real trouble. So, while speaking, he hooked the strings again. The sharp sound wave sword energy, piercing through the air and shooting, intercepted Wan Yenkong and others. The sword energy exploded, shattering the vermilion courtyard door and causing debris in sawdust to fly, blocking the way. Wan Yenkong stopped his steps. A cold and stern gaze looked towards the distant attic, with a look of disgust on his face. Flowers fill the building. He had always disliked this so-called Flower Family's seventh young master from the beginning. It's clear that he's just a blind person. But it gives people a sense of detachment. Wearing plain clothes, his temperament is even more noble than that of a prince's son, to the extent that he appears like a richly dressed clown. He is just jealous. There should not be such a person in the world. Humph, I thought playing the piano was already impressive. Do you consider yourself a first-class master? Wan Yenkong snorted disdainfully. I am bullying your Hua family, what can you do to me? On weekdays, he probably wouldn't speak so straightforwardly. I just dislike the pretentious and elegant posture of the flower-filled building too much. Unconsciously, my tone seems a bit childish. Okay. Since the young prince said that, then don't leave. Finish speaking. The sound of the qin is reproduced. A series of sharp sound wave sword qi, piercing through the air and flying like rainbow light, attacked and killed. Protect the little prince. The five masters saw this and their faces changed slightly. They all set off and gathered around Wan Yenkong. Ghost head knife, judge's pen, and format weapon swing, unleashing internal power and fully resisting sound wave sword energy. However, not waiting for them to resolve the first offensive. The sound of the qin in the field varied, emitting the roar of the sea. The more intense sword energy flowed like raging waves, one after another, surpassing the other. To annihilate and strangle the five masters along with Wan Yenkong. How could such a powerful sound wave sword energy erupt at the same time, suppressing five people with one enemy? What a profound internal power. The strength of Hua Man Lu is at least in the 3rd grade. I can't tell his level, but at least it can be confirmed that his strength is probably above ours. The guests who were watching from afar all had a big change in their faces. Master Kuji and Jin Zhouling, among others, were not very strong in strength and only barely reached the threshold of reaching the 3rd grade. But Murong Fu is a renowned expert in the martial arts world and a genuine 3rd-level powerhouse. To make him feel inferior, the state of being full of flowers is at least 2nd grade or above. Rumble, the sword energy burst, and the rockeries in the distance were shattered and exploded. The five masters did their utmost to barely protect Yenkong, and at this moment, a look of fear appeared in their eyes. The strength of the flower-filled building far exceeds their imagination. Even if they are so far apart, just using sound waves can suppress them. If we continue to passively defend like this, not to mention the young prince, the 5 of them may have to be accountable here. This kid's moves are strange. He must have specialized in martial arts in the field of qin music. We are too passive like this. If we don't kill him, we're afraid we won't be able to leave. He is good at long-range attacks, and if he can get close, maybe he still has a chance. Continuously unleashing such fierce sword energy attacks will inevitably result in severe damage to its internal strength. These few sword energies have already weakened significantly. We will seize the opportunity to join forces and attack, and we will definitely be able to kill them. There's no such thing as being passively beaten but not fighting back. Okay, you guys go kill him. I'm not powerless either. It's okay to protect myself for now. Wan Yenkong gritted his teeth and said. He learned from Xuanzhen's Qiu Chuji and was skilled in swordsmanship. He was also trained by many experts, including Mei Chaofeng, who was hiding in the royal mansion. To the extent that he is young, in fact, his martial arts cultivation has reached the 5th grade level. It's not an embroidered pillow. Even though the strength of Hua Manlu exceeded their expectations, there was no room for him to back down at this point. The flower family wants face, doesn't this little prince of the Jin dynasty want face? Hands on. During the conversation, the 5 masters simultaneously unleashed their internal power, concentrating in one place and shattering their sword energy. 5 figures accelerated simultaneously, pouncing from different directions towards the attic. A distance of tens of zhang is not too far for a master at this level. With the use of lightness skills, he had already flown upstairs in a few moments of takeoff and landing. Be careful, Lu. The flowers below were visible, with an anxious expression on their faces, trying to stop them. But it was blocked by a cold and gloomy aura. It turned out that it was Wan Yenkong who took the opportunity to break through the sword energy encirclement. As he waved his robe sleeves, his claws were sharp, tearing out remnants of the path, like ghosts. In an instant, the heads of the 2 guards were pierced through. That is Mei Chaofeng's 9-in white bone claw, a highly vicious and ruthless martial arts skill. Hua Ruling was furious, and with a palm strike, his thick internal power shook Wan Yenkong back. But with his obstruction, there was still no time to intercept those 5 masters. Kill. 5 experts, simultaneously unleashing ultimate moves. The ghost-head sword slashed angrily in the air, the judge's pen followed closely behind, the wild fox fist hit the life gate on the top of the head, and the poison sand palm hit the back of the heart. The 5 major teams worked together to achieve a clear goal, striving for a decisive strike. Their cooperation is very good. The 5-in-1 almost sealed off any possible escape route for Hua Manlu, forcing him to reluctantly accept it. But in this rush, even if he has excellent martial arts skills and can withstand 1 or 2 attacks, he will definitely be hit in the future. As the saying goes, 2 fists are difficult to defeat 4 hands, let alone 5 people. Almost everyone believes that the flower-filled building is now in a dangerous situation. However, there was no panic on his face. In fact, if these 5 people were to flee separately, he might not be able to kill all of them if they were too far apart. Wan Yenkong still had a chance to take advantage of the chaos and escape. So, he deliberately showed a loss of internal power, weakening the power of sword energy. Just to lure them back and fight against themselves. Speaking late, then fast. The attacks of the 5 masters were already imminent. The leading ghost-headed sword slashed down, tearing through the air with a sharp blade. Even the flower-covered tower did not lift its head, and Lingxi's finger had already taken action, accurately gripping the tip of the knife. At the same time, the judge straightly took the large hole in the lower abdomen. But it was blocked by an invisible gas wall, and at the same time, the wild fox fist and poison sand palm behind it also stopped. Those few people only felt that their decisive blow was as if they had hit cotton, and their strength was like a mud cow entering the sea, with no effect. At this moment, a faint blue radiance appeared on the body of the flower-covered building, like a canopy, enveloping and sheltering its surroundings. Is this innate vigorous qi? Liang Ziweng's face changed greatly, and his voice trembled a bit. The innate strong qi protects my body, mosquitoes and flies cannot fall, swords and swords do not add to me, heartOne has no leakage, and divine power is unparalleled. It is for the realm of diamond and the mortal realm. The sound of flowers filling the floor came into my ears. The 5 masters were as white as paper. This time, they didn't kick on the iron plate, but hit Mount Taishan head-on. 009 Wisdom Pearl is in hand, bringing disaster to the east. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The 5 experts teamed up to launch a deadly attack. As a result, the 5 of them did not even touch the corners of their clothes, which were full of flowers. They were blocked by the layer of blue light and true energy, and the scene in the building seemed to freeze in this moment. Innate vigorous qi protects the body. First grade, Diamond Realm. Everyone present was stunned by the scene before them. Previously, Hua Manlu relied solely on the sound of the qin, which made it difficult for everyone to accurately judge his cultivation level. I just thought he specialized in this path, using special techniques to achieve this effect. This is similar to the flute sound of the envoy from the Han Hai Kingdom. So everyone's speculation about his strength is at best second rate. Second grade and first grade are vastly different. There are countless masters in the world who remain in the realm of second grade for their entire lives. No matter how strong they are only acquired martial artists. Only by breaking the shackles can one penetrate the innate ancestral energy in the body and transform oneself. A master who reaches this level can now be called a master. Even at the lowest level of the diamond realm, looking at the martial arts world, they are unparalleled experts in the top ranks. Flower-filled buildings, this blind young master of the Flower Family is actually an innate master. Not good, this sun is no longer something we can shake. Master's power cannot be violated, run away. Let's go. At this moment, the 5 people in the building were already in shock. Where else is there any fighting spirit? If I had known that the other party was a first-class master who had entered the innate realm and given them 10 courage, I would not have dared to confront them. Under the first grade, there are ants everywhere. This is not a joke. Not to mention their only 4th level cultivation, even 2nd level masters dare not act recklessly in front of an innate one. Immediately withdrew their moves and wanted to escape. But the blue light and vigorous energy, like a vortex, burst out with a strong suction force, pulling their bodies forward, unable to advance, unable to retreat. Die. The flowers fill the building with an indifferent expression. As he spoke, the tiger's body trembled slightly, its muscles surged, and its chi and blood were like a dragon, unleashing infinite divine power. The 5 masters were struck by lightning on the spot. The whole body's muscles and bones crackled with a crackling sound, as if being crushed by a mountain, blood and flesh burst, splattering blood mist, and then all fell down together. Everyone secretly licked their tongues. Looking fixedly, the 5 of them had all broken bones and muscles, their internal organs had ruptured, and they were so dead that they could no longer die. They didn't even see how Hua Manlu made a move. No need for any moves, relying solely on the true energy of the diamond realm is enough to crush these 5 people to death. Dead. The 5 masters that Father King painstakingly recruited were instantly annihilated. Wan Yenkong widened his eyes. He never dreamed that the blind 7th young master of the Flower Family would be an innate diamond. How could this be possible? If he had known this information earlier, he wouldn't have waded into this muddy water. Although the Han Hai Jade Buddha is precious, it is somewhat more than worth the loss compared to offending the first-rank master. Moreover, I was too arrogant before, which angered Hua Manlu and directly killed the 5 masters. This posture may not be acceptable to me either. The other party's murderous intentions do not take into account their own identity as the little prince of the Jin kingdom. Escape. As long as we escape from the Hua family, there's still a chance. They can't openly pursue me. Thinking of this, Wan Yenkong couldn't care about saying anything about the scene. Hurriedly kicked his feet, used his lightness skills, and ran out with all his might. At the same time, Murong Fu, who was fighting outside the courtyard, suddenly seemed to have thought of something and his figure quietly disappeared into the crowd. This guy really can't help it anymore. Although Wamanlu faces away from this place, she has a keen insight and has always been paying attention to the movements of Murong Fu. But he did not stop it. Murong Fu is determined to restore his country, but he is much smarter than Wan Yenkong and should not be foolish enough to confront him head-on. At this moment, the action is mostly to seize the Han Hai Jade Buddha while taking advantage of the chaos. Hua Manlu doesn't mind fulfilling him. After all, after today, the news that the Han Hai Jade Buddha is stored in the Flower Family will inevitably spread and attract others to covet it. If Murong Fu takes away the fake Han Hai Jade Buddha in public. In the future, if others cause trouble, they will not be able to find the Hua family. So, Hua Manlu deliberately hesitated and delayed for a moment, allowing Wan Yenkong to run outside the courtyard before taking action. Sword chi turns into flowing water, breaking through the air and arriving. Directly punctured Yan Kang's thigh, preventing him from running and falling into the forest below. Where is the little prince going? Hua Man Lu, don't go too far. After all, I am the prince of the Jin dynasty. You can just kill my subordinates. What else do you want? Didn't the young prince just be so stubborn that he was trying to bully my Hua family? It's Xiao Wang's arrogance, can I admit my mistake? Flowers are everywhere, don't be too extreme in your work. If it's too big, I'll return the Jade Buddha. If you really kill me, aren't you afraid that the Jin army will invade the border, your flower family? It's ridiculous. Just call you, little prince, do you really think you're from the Jin dynasty? Yang Kong, don't say you're just a traitor seeking glory. Even if you're really a prince of the Jin dynasty, or even the head of the country. It's just a foreign tribe. I want to kill you, why fear the consequences? Hua Man Lu shook his head. The reason why he talked so much nonsense to the other party was just waiting for Murong Fu to take office. At this moment, seeing that the time is ripe, I am too lazy to say any more nonsense. With 2 fingers together, he pinched a string of the piano, as if pulling a bow. True energy poured into it, emitting a crescent-shaped sword energy ripple. Boom! A loud noise came. The sharp sword energy was like a huge sickle cutting through, the big tree snapped and fell, the rockery shattered, and the high courtyard walls were like pieces of paper, torn open by this sword. Located among them, Wanyan Kong was cut off by sword energy on the spot, his body fell, and the Hanhai Jade Buddha in his hand fell. A hand extended from the darkness. He hid in a blind corner swept by sword energy, seized the opportunity to take action, and after seizing the Hanhai Jade Buddha, he stepped onto the collapsed city wall and ran out without looking back. It's Murong Fu. Damn it, this guy took advantage of the chaos and stole the Jade Buddha. Hurry up. Hua Ruling shouted loudly at the right time. He had already obtained the secret information of the Hua Man Lu Chuan Yin, and knew about his plan, so he deliberately shouted out the name of Murong Fu loudly. As for tracking, it's just a show. Sure enough. The group chased out of the mansion gate and soon lost sight of Murong Fu. Hua Ruling clenched her wrist and sighed with regret, murmuring, "This Hanhai Jade Buddha is a token of the royal power of the Hanhai Kingdom in the western regions, stored in our Hua family. Now that it has been lost, what should we do?" The crowd present heard the words and looked at each other, but they didn't show much. Everyone stepped forward to comfort. Regardless of the theft of the Hanhai Jade Buddha by Murong Fu, today he made a move full of flowers, demonstrating extraordinary strength and domineering and aggressive means. Who dares to underestimate it? The Flower Family has a dragon, destined to take it to the next level. They already have some friendship with the Flower Family, so if they don't seize the opportunity to cling now, when will they wait? Ask the sword heaven and earth, and glimpse the secret of eternal life. You are listening at novel.Although. 7 young masters, young heroes, I have long known that he is by no means a thing in the pool. Being blind in childhood is indeed unfair to heaven, but the fact that Hua Gongzi is able to calm down and cultivate his mind, cultivate divine skills, shows his strong mental character and high comprehension. An 18-year-old boy is born with a first-class diamond, and his future prospects are limitless. Hua Laoyi, congratulations. Hua Gongzi's martial arts are traceable and naturally natural, without any traces of martial arts sections. It seems like he has formed his own family and is truly a martial arts master. With such a son, the Flower Family will surely prosper. For everyone's praise and praise, the flowers all over the building are just a smile. Just like in the past decade, he has been used to hearing too many cold and sarcastic remarks. His nature has long been refined to a pure and transparent state. Don't be surprised by favor or disgrace, everything depends on your heart. Do not favor or mourn external things. Hua Ruling laughed happily, without hiding her comfort and pride in her son. To be honest, before today, as a father, he didn't know what level Hua Manlu had reached in his cultivation. I only know that this kid keeps himself locked up in the Tianjin Tower all day, studying and comprehending nature. I thought he was just expressing his emotions to the mountains and waters, relieving his depression. Unexpectedly, he had an epiphany and embarked on a path different from that of ordinary martial artists. He, as a father, is immensely proud. However, the young Master Hua killed the young prince of the Jin dynasty. I'm afraid that Wanyan Honglai won't give up easily, and the Hua family may get into trouble as a result. In the crowd, Six Gates Constable Jin Juling pondered and spoke. Everyone nodded at the words, with a hint of solemnity in their expressions. However, soon after, Jin Juling said, Master Hua doesn't have to worry too much. After all, the kingdom of Jin is far from our great Ming. No matter how powerful Yan Honglai is, he wouldn't dare to act recklessly here. I will truthfully report this to the court. It was the Jin people who provoked us first, and the Hua family was forced to protect themselves. If the Jin people dare to target the Hua family because of this, the court will not sit idly by. He expressed his attitude as a court official. It is also a kind of goodwill towards the Flower family. Hua ruling naturally understood and thanked him repeatedly. After all, the Hua family has a big business, and if the other party really wants to make any moves, they are really not careful. But if there is protection from the court, it would be much more convenient. Of course, in return, some necessary benefits must be conveyed. This is also a win-win situation. In theory, the Jin dynasty did not dare to act recklessly in the Ming dynasty. It was difficult to target the Hua family, but they were afraid that they would secretly take action. Hua Gongzi would have to pay more attention to safety in the future. Jin Juling finally reminded me. Although a top-notch expert is already a peerless expert in the martial arts world, it does not mean he is invincible. A clear spear is easy to dodge, but a hidden arrow is difficult to defend against. That Wanyan Honglai is not a good person either. I will definitely do anything to avenge my son. It may not be impossible to invite other strong individuals to come forward. Thank you, Constable Jin, for your guidance. I understand. Hua Manlu responded with a smile. He truly appreciated the kindness from others. As for whether to fear the revenge of Wanyan Honglai, there is no such intention at all. He has now entered the realm of Vajra, not to mention invincibility, self-protection is definitely enough. And it won't be long before he can go further. With his natural talent and intelligence, it's only a matter of time before he can stand alone in the world. Just a Jin dynasty prince, he really doesn't care about it. A lot of things happened tonight, and there are still many follow-up matters to be dealt with by the Hua family. So after chatting and flattering for a while, everyone said goodbye and left. Hua ruling instructed the family guards to tidy up the scene in an orderly manner, while she and her son entered the study together. Good kid, it's really thanks to you tonight. If it weren't for my son's unparalleled martial arts, with the arrogance of Wanyan Kong, my Hua family would probably lose their reputation tonight. Hua ruling smiled and patted his shoulder. He was already very fond of this little son. Now that I see him not only overcome the shadow in his heart, but also break through the barrier and become an innate master, as a father, I am sincerely gratified. Hua Manlu smiled humbly and poured a cup of tea for his father. He has been in the Flower family for 10 years, and the flowers treat him like one heart and one flesh. So from the bottom of my heart, I also agree with this father. But it's just the diamond realm, it's nothing. You kid, in this land of Middle Earth, there are more than 10 million martial artists. How many can enter the first level? Besides, you are only 18 years old this year, and your future is limitless. Hua ruling spoke and suddenly let out a sigh. With some regret, he said, you have been exceptionally intelligent since childhood and have the wisdom of heaven. It's a pity that the iron shoe thief ruined your eyes and delayed you. Otherwise, if you had achieved something today, I'm afraid. A drink and a peck are all opportunities. If it weren't for my blindness, I wouldn't have calmed down to comprehend heaven and earth. Perhaps I would have developed an arrogant and rebellious nature that relies on courage and rebellion. It's true, your current nature is not as good as my fear of being a father. The flowers evoke some emotion. Originally, Dad wanted to leave the flower family to you to take care of when you reached adulthood. But now that you have become a master, this small flower family in Jiangnan may not be able to accommodate you. I wonder how my son plans for the future. Speaking of which, Hua Manlu happens to have some things to explain to his father. So he replied, my father should understand that I have a weak personality, so I am quiet and carefree, unable to be restrained, and have no intention of gaining power or wealth, so going into business is not my path. What does my son wish for? Ask the sword heaven and earth, climb to the pinnacle of martial arts, to glimpse the secret of eternal life in heaven and earth. Hua Manlu calmly said this sentence. But it left the flower speechless in shock. He never imagined that his own son would have such a grand ambition. In contrast, what dominates the martial arts world, what is the richest man in the world, even if he ascends to the rank of 95, appears shallow in the face of this great wish. All right. All right. My son has this great wish, and I, as a father, should support it. However, our Hua family is not a martial arts family after all, and we don't have any unique divine arts, but we have money. Even if I spend all my family wealth, I will still help you obtain a few truly top-notch divine arts, and I will lend you a helping hand when the time comes. That's not necessary. The path I have taken is different from that of ordinary martial artists. Even the top-level divine skill secrets are only for reference to me. I am a teacher of nature and have my own insights and gains. I can easily use my martial arts and techniques. After Hua Manlu finished speaking, he also told his father about his plan to embark on a long journey. Hua Ruling knew that there was always someone living in his heart. I used to dare not let him go out because I was afraid he would have inconvenient eyes and be bullied in the dangerous world. Now, my son has grown up. It is time for birds to fly high in the sky. So, he didn't refuse and agreed. It's better to travel thousands of miles than to read thousands of books. It's imperative for you to practice the way of heaven and earth and go out to the rivers and lakes for training. As a father, you won't stop you. But when you go out, it's not like at home. You still need someone you can trust to accompany and take care of your daily life. Speaking. Hua Ruling opened her mouth and summoned the servant. Not long after, a graceful and delicate maid lowered her head and entered the room. 24 hours, 23,000 words have been updated, not a single drop left. Brothers like it, give me some data, it's not a problem to collect and expand.